What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back with another episode of Qualified TV. Again, I don't know. We on a stretch, we on a run of guests from the crib. Don't excuse my excitement, just deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But also, this one is also very, very special. Basically, family right here, man. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel the vibes, as the interview goes on. But I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself, and then we're gonna get right into the interview as always. So go ahead, family, let the people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Don J Live. I'm a artist. I'm a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I feel like bro, I'm 30 now, bro. So I feel like once you hit a certain age, bro, you gotta like, you know what I'm saying, give everything that you is, my boy. So I'm a father. I'm a husband. But primarily I do music, and so I'm a rapper, hip hop artist, MC, poet, spoken word artist, whatever you want to, shape it as. I've been doing music for a couple years now, so we'll get into that. But yeah, that's who I am. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, originally. Don't live there right now because it's too cold. Hold on. My kids was all born down here. You feel me? So
Yeah,
my kids was all born in Orlando, Florida, but from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So yeah, knowing Steven for a minute though. You feel me? We'll
you
get
feel
into
me?
that.
Before we got on, he was like, "Look, you're growing up on me too much. You gotta
Y'all gotta
relax.
chill, bro.
You
I'm
gotta
not trying to
chill."
my thing. I'm not trying to. We're a little broke, but you gotta chill. No, I swear. Like yeah, no, it's tough
Nah,
though.
nah, it's all
It's
good,
tough.
man. But yeah, no, I'm glad you kind of brought that up in the intro the way you did, because one of my first questions was going to be, how did you identify early on? So you said that you really just started, I don't want to say seriously, but you just started kind of
Mm-hmm.
going deeper into the music lane recently. But when you first started out, would you identify, or would you have called yourself a poet first, or where did that love for writing
Mm-hmm.
I'll include making music, because I don't want to like create your timeline for you. But when did that
Yeah,
love
yeah.
for writing come into play for you? When did you know, or when did you feel that, okay, I'm actually gifted at this?
Yeah, so it all started on campus, bro. I went to UW Whitewater, and so shout out to folks that went there to the Warhawks. Actually, before that, even we gotta go back a little bit. So, out of high school, went to Bradley Tech High School. Out of high school, went to Carroll College to play football. And so, honestly, bro, like my whole purview of everything that came, artistically, was one that was kind of limited. Um, actually, so I went to Carroll College first over in Waukesha, and I played football there for a little bit. And then, yeah, man, I just felt the Lord calling me to Whitewater. And the reason he was calling me there was to stop playing football, which was OD for me, completely OD, bro. Like I'm trying to go league time, bro. Like I'm really, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
was really in it. So I stopped playing football and went to Whitewater, started this little Bible study joint. And honestly, at the point of I think I was like 20 or 21 or so, I got into spoken word and poetry by way of, for example, you got your degrees, man. I would go to like a Black Student Union meeting or whatever on campus, and for our organization that we had, we would do spoken word or poetry to announce what we had going on, for example. And so it was kind of like a thing where you walk in and it's like, you know what I'm saying, you got 200, 300, 400 people. For example, for BSU, 400 Black people, and everybody understands the culture of hip hop, spoken word, the arts when it comes to those things. And so it was easy to communicate that stuff. And so we would come in literally, bro, and stop everything, that was going on in a meeting. And they knew once we had an announcement, if we had an announcement, you start from the top, for example, you go down, each org or whatever,
Mm.
see what, everybody's doing. And yeah, once it got to us, really, I kind of took hold of, I don't know, really crafting my art there. And so I think the love of it started though. I ain't gonna lie. Pops showed me Common Sense is like water for chocolate. When I heard that album, it was like, yo, that was when I was like probably like 12,
Mm.
11, 12, 13. And so I fell in love with hip hop then, but I didn't really know how to articulate it until I got to college. So yeah.
Okay. No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. That's dope. It's always interesting hearing about BSUs at different schools, and I think the older I've
Yeah.
gotten, the more I've started to know people who went to HBCUs, and even as that
Yeah.
conversation has become a thing in recent years, I think it's always interesting to see how different Black communities on different campuses not so much operate, but just like within us representing our culture, how do we represent it on that campus. So I think y'all even
Mhm.
announcements being done in a spoken word format is just cool, because I'm just thinking about that being something that can really reel people in, and it's really getting people to pay
Yeah,
attention, not only to how
absolutely.
talented somebody may be, but also like, okay, well, they telling us what they got going on. And then if the events are dope,
Yeah.
well, it's just a dope combination of a lot of things. You talked about falling in love with hip hop. Just how much
Hmm.
influence does hip hop have, not over your artistry, because that seems too general,
Hmm.
but how much
Yeah.
influence does it have in regards to what you feel like your path has been from poet to MC?
Yeah, I think it was a natural progression, bro. Yeah, man, I started out, bro, like, and well, I mean, well, yeah, I started out, I think, in that lane of like the underground rappers, bro, which is weird, which is like nowadays, actually, as far as the people I listen to, they kind of have a similar path, and so like the Sabas and the Mick Jenkins and all that, who aren't really like big mainstream, but when you hear them, you know them, you be like, oh, like they really do this, they really rap or whatnot, and so I think that hip hop for me, like you said, as an artist, it might be a little general, but I think for me overall, bro, it's been really a thing that's shaped a lot of how I see the world. Of course, it's a cultural thing, so it's like close, really, really close to us. Some will argue, that there is no culture, that there's just, the people that God created, and that's the one culture. But we can see, how that would differ when it comes to things in sectors, subgenres like hip hop, for example, which
Mm,
has this crazy influence, I think, where it not only influences, bro, like our culture, but it literally can tap and influence everyone's culture. And it's the only, I feel like, entity that can take, for example, something that doesn't belong and make it feel like it belongs. For example, like
mm,
we can take if we're talking genres, we can take pop, country, or whatever, and do something with it and fuse it, and somehow it becomes hip hop. Like you see a lot of artists tapping into different spaces like that. And so, yeah, I think that's for the artistry. But for me, for life, man, I think it influences a lot, man. I think it influences how we dress, how I dress, how I even to a not to get a little deep, but like on a negative side to its detriment. For example, how we see people. You know what I'm saying? How I love my brother that looks like me, or how I see a young lady, or whatnot. Like it influences all those things. I think hip hop is a huge space where it gives you a big lens um, into it perpetuates things that are already there, and so it can be very positive or it can be extremely, extremely detrimental. And so it's huge, man. I mean, I'm tatted for that reason. I feel like it's an influence apart from my faith, like it's an influence as well. If we being honest about it, what I'm saying, the idea of wearing we minimal with it, but the wearing the jewelry or
yeah,
whatever, like those are things that we get from hip hop and that have transposed over time when it comes to people and how they live things out. And so yeah, man, it's been huge, bro. I ain't gonna cap. Like, it's a part of my DNA, and so it's something that I've definitely had to embrace. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure. Yeah, I will. I wanted to stick with the story, but I gotta stay on this is hip hop topic because you brought up a lot of good points.
for
Um,
sure.
I love that you brought up how it perpetuates how a lot of people see the world. I don't think that that's something that people don't acknowledge, but I don't know if they really kind of understand. And I
Hmm.
I kind of I kind of hate making it specific, but
Yeah.
specifically for young black men. I don't know if sometimes we're really aware of just how much our worldview is shaped by, yes, what we listen to, but
Hmm.
also just the culture of everything that you would say is a part of the definition of hip hop, because it's not just the music. Like you said, when you talk about the jewelry, when you talk about um even how you interact with women, all of that, a lot of it
Hmm.
is based in like what we hear, what we see, what we deem as cool, to a
Right.
point where we feel like, yo, that's necessary, like that's how I gotta be. Speak to how
Yeah.
you, within everything you said, kind of speak to how you created that separation, so you understand how deep the
Hmm.
influence is for you, but with that negative side, how have you been able to kind of balance, knowing that, okay, yeah, I can get tatted, like that ain't nothing, but I ain't gonna take it this
Yeah.
far. I feel like I need to do A, B, and C to be respected in that arena? How is that balance for you? Or
Mhm.
do you see that as a balancing act for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, man, honestly, it's hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I think that if we're being transparent, so I do the music that I do, just talk about that a little bit. It's you can tell it's faith based, but I've been in circles where people are, that don't believe in Christ, or they don't do Christianity in a way that the Bible teaches that Jesus taught. Um, they listen to it and be like, "Yo, this is fire!" Like, where can I find more or whatnot? And I think that's huge because I'm looking from a different lens with it. So not that hip hop is all bad. However, like I had a few conversations, or this is the thing that's a conversation. I'll mention CHH a lot, which is basically just Christian hip hop, and it's kind of weird because some people are like, bro, when you work at Walmart, if you're a Christian, bro, you ain't no Christian Walmart worker, you just a Walmart worker, right? Or you ain't no, what I'm saying? If you're a Muslim, you ain't no Muslim Walmart worker, you just work at Walmart, fam.
Right.
But specifically for Christian hip hop, what I've seen and how I've been looking through that lens, and this isn't an and one up or anything like that when it comes to hip hop. I've been having conversations recently about, like, for example, um, the the start of hip hop and how um, the foundations of it, how like competitive it became at some point. Like it started out as style, what I'm saying? We put style into everything. You put a style into how you walk, how you speak. You do poetry. Everybody was writing poetry back in the 70s, 80s.
Mm.
Because it was like a high, what I'm saying? It was a lot of other stuff going into it, like drugs and all that stuff. People was, what I'm saying? Like their minds was expanded a little bit. You feel me? So it was like, I think the artistic part of that stuff is like, it started like that, where it was like, oh, let's represent this art and let's do it really well. But then it got into a competitive, space, what I'm saying, in the 80s, 90s, late 80s, 90s, where it's like, rappers not getting killed over stuff. And so it's like, it's evolved so much to the point where it's almost become inseparable from black community. Like you see a black person, you be like, yo, like, bro, you heard the new, what I'm saying, Money Bag? It's like, and then if they not tapped in with the space necessarily because they're a little, removed from it, they'll know who the person is. But it's like, no, I don't know what's actually going on. But it's like, you can't escape it, bro. Even if you try to, submit yourself into another, ascribe yourself into a different culture or something like that, or type of people, it's like you can't escape it if you're black. And so I think, man, I don't know, bro, the influence and the me thinking about hip hop the way I do, and how I see it, I don't know. It's not too heavily influential when it comes to how I live necessarily, but I know the impact that it has. Like there are songs, for example, I think like Joyner Lucas and Logic, like they got joints about suicide that are super impactful, bro. You know what I'm saying? That have like helped keep people alive. You know what I'm saying? Just by listening to music, for example. NF is another artist that came from the Christian space as well, and he kind of sounds like an Eminem, but he has a lot of music as well for those that are down in the crutches when it comes to anxiety and depression and things like that, and it helps lift people up, for example. And so it's like so many messages. Of course, you got the mainstream joint nowadays where it's like, bro, like we finna degrade women, we finna talk about this money, bro, we finna get this money, we finna, really what I'm seeing a lot now, and I'm kind of going through it a little bit myself, if I'm being honest. Like I'm seeing a lot of the effects of hip hop when it comes to the carelessness of people, like not really caring for a certain person or not wanting to be in their space, and like having these opposing sides. And I don't know, like from a negative standpoint, it kind of rips apart a lot of those people, aspects of just being human and just connecting or whatnot. But then on the same in the same exact light, bro, Future was just in Milwaukee, for example, bro, and it brought together so many people, bro. Like I can imagine. I remember back in, like, I don't even know if you was even like outside at the time, bro. Back when Boosie and them was outside, like,
Going
and they
outside.
came to Milwaukee, bro. Bro, I remember they came to the Bradley Center, as it was called formerly, for those that did not know, the Bradley Center, bro. And like, oh, 06, oh 07, something like that. Boosie came out, and it was like, bro, I saw everybody from high school, bro. Actually, I try to age myself. Hold on, chill. Like 20, maybe 20, 2011, 2010, something like 20, 2009, maybe even. I saw people from middle school. Like it just brought so many people together. My point is that hip hop does that, bro. It's like this hungry force, man, of like it can make people relate so really, really well, and then it can pull people apart in a crazy way, bro. And yeah, I don't know. I have to be to speak from a parental standpoint. I have to be mindful. I got a 4, 3, and 6 month old, and so I have to be mindful of even like the stuff that they're listening to, because it is influential, bro. Like it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, when you wake up and you want to be in a good mood, you can go play Happy by Pharrell. That'll get you up. Or if you in a down mood, you might hit on some Juice World, bro, and it might get you through the day. Like it depends on what mood you're in, and it really speaks to moods. There's so much to it, and if you're in a bad mood, and it's man, it's weird, bro. Like you're peaking at the right time in that mood. For example, your climax pause with the mood is like there, and then it's like you also listen to some music that'll take you there when it comes to maybe some violence or whatever. Like it's that can be tough because it's like I'm ready to go and act this out, and I think that's where the caution should come in, for everybody who listen to music. So yeah, man, I know that was a lot.
No, it's cool, man. I love it. And I feel like you touched on every possible like aspect or layer that there's an answer for that question. I know it was really open and deep, so I don't mind a long answer at all. But like even with everything that you said, when you started, I believe this to be the case, but I want to be sure. You were always faith-based, like in your music, even when you first started releasing. And then like when was that
Yeah.
time? When did you first start releasing music or making
Yeah.
music?
So yeah. So I've been always been faith based. I've been in some groups that kind of transition out of faith based music when it came to the tangible, videos, music, the stuff we're actually putting out behind the scenes. I think that, man, the idea of being a Christian and walking in Christ, it kind of is weird because it's like on one hand, if you're making music and doing music, it can be looked at, and it's not in a Christian or gospel lens. It can be looked as if you're not necessarily a believer. When the Scripture talks to even people that they are Christians, but their walk is weak, or like they're Christians and they're not disciples, which is a whole different conversation. But not even getting into that. I think that I had always started faith based, and it was really, man. It's not even like a I don't know. Well, I'll say this. We use the word conviction a lot. It's conviction means just like it does in a legal sense, where it's like you're convicted of it. You have to stand trial for that. Like you're or not even stand trial, but you're convicted. You did it. There's something there. So there's a lot of conviction when it comes to how I write and what I write. I will say that though, it is easy to be tempted, for example, to cross over and make any type of music, bro. Because why? The bag is there. Like I feel like, what I'm saying, if I wanted to, like I could, if we're being honest and totally completely transparent, bro, like I feel like I could go make a bag, bro, if I just, what I'm saying, like did whatever the sound is today and made it mainstream. Like I can do that and support my family and stuff like that. But at the same time, like literally it comes with the territory. The Bible talks a lot about what you say and how you speak it, even how you think. Like so as a man thinketh, that's how he is. And the tongue is, a double-edged sword, bro. Like it pierces, bro. And so it's like, yeah, man, like I don't know, bro. It's 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 always been a faith-based thing for me. I started out in 2014, really, like I actually released a song. 2015, actually, I think, yeah, 2014 I was writing. 2015 I released something like on YouTube, I believe. And then also that year I was in a rap contest for the Christian hip hop scene, and this entity called Rapzilla, Rapzilla. Shout out to them. They've been like one of the main hubs for Christian hip hop, main hubs for faith based music, even if it's country, whatever it is, but like specifically for Christian hip hop. And they had this contest where I went up against some folks that to this day still make music, but there were a lot of old heads in CHH that were a part of it, and they were judging and stuff like that, the contest, and that was pretty dope. So that was in 2015. I did that at the Legacy Conference. Shout out to Brian Dye. But yeah, the Legacy Conference, and then yeah, man, I didn't release, bro, for like 3 years, man. Like 2018 was the next time I released. In 2018, that was when I actually got like on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that, and my music was available. And so, yeah, bro, that started with some classics, bro. Depart, Hella High Water, like a lot of joints that was really hitting home. There was heartfelt joints, And so, and I had a mixtape in 2014. That's what I had. I released that on Dat Piff, and I hadn't done really too much with it,
Mm.
but it did pretty dope. And so it was like all industry beats mixtape. So yeah, man. And it's been up from there, man. I've been learning more though these last like 2 years than I
Okay.
ever learned in the beginning. So
No, that's what's up. Was that 3 year break? Was that just y'all had other stuff going on? Music wasn't really a focus. Was there more intention behind? No, I actually want to kind of go home some stuff before I come back. Was there anything
mhm,
significant about that 3 month, not 3 month, 3 year stint in between
mhm.
the next time that you released music and then getting on streaming platforms and seemingly kind of, I don't want to say taking yourself more seriously, but I guess making
Yeah,
it
no.
official uh adventure, if you will.
Yeah. No, that was it, bro. Like honestly, I'm real. Like I'm usually hard on myself, but like I'm honest too, bro. Like there's so much to the music industry that people don't understand, bro. Like my sis Kid Lee, she's on a label, quote unquote, that I'm on right now, and she just, for example, got a check from Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange is like this uh, entity that if you hear music like anywhere on the radio, in the mall, whatever, it helps collect those royalties for you. If somebody's playing it in the gym or whatever, like it just helps collect royalties that we miss sometimes, that artists miss. And so, for example, she just got paid from that, and it's just like people don't even know how to get that. Like they usually just release music and do it like I was doing in 2015, where it's like, man, I want to release. I got so much stuff to release, but it's like, do I really know how to? So to answer your question, it was more so like a discovery joint where it's like, okay, like, one, I have some potential. 2015, I'm like, okay, I got picked for this joint. I have some potential. Um, and then 2016, honestly, I was at a space where 2015, I also got married. So after the conference, well, right before the conference, I got married and whatever. And so I'm in my first 3 years of marriage trying to figure that out up until 2018. And I think honestly that had a lot to do with it too. But also too, like I wanted to be serious with the music, and I don't want to rush anything. You know what I'm saying? And so I really had to focus on like, nah, bro, like you got to get your YouTube set up and it has to look like an artist YouTube, or, and that even I'm still like trying to learn how to grow that joint. Like it's been stagnant for a little bit and I'm honest about stuff. But like my Spotify has gone up, and that's been an ode to just me learning the system and like how to work with artists and collaborate, for example. But that didn't happen until this year, and it's 2023 now. And so like, man, it's just a process, bro, with music. Like people look at it like it's an overnight thing. The overnight joints that you usually see, honestly, it's usually like 360 deals, unless it's a crazy talent. Even, I mean, Cole and Kendrick, they weren't ever overnight. Like it took a process for them. Like, what I'm saying? They started with they initial joints, and it was like, oh, like we know them. Oh, okay, now we really know them. Like they posted all like Rap Caviar, or like any of them joints, like they'll post the tweets from
Yeah.
Travis Scott from like 2011, from Drake, from, what I'm saying, from Cole in 2009, where it's like, yo, I'm trying to get, man, if I can get just 500 fans, bro, like I'll be straight. And it's like, fam, like it's a process, bro. And so it's like, man, you see them now, like they're at the height of their career. Bro, 2009 was what, bro? I'm trying to age myself, bro, but like that's like a minute ago. That's almost 15 years ago. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that little 3 year hiatus, to answer your question, like that was really for me to figure out what to do, how to do it well. Like there's so much stuff, bro. And so that was what that was. And then also too some life stuff with yeah, man, it was a lot, bro. I got married. We lost a child. Like it was just a lot, bro. A lot of stuff. And I don't mean to just throw that out there like that small, but yeah, it was a lot, man.
No, that's cool. And well, first and foremost, before we go any further, because I know it's gonna continue, I definitely
Mhm.
appreciate and respect like your transparency. And I not because it's something, I mean, I do think it's something to acknowledge because there are a lot of people that aren't transparent about their journeys and how they got to where they are. But I just think you're helping a lot of people right now by kind of just opening up about navigating life, because that's essentially like what you're explaining. Like we're talking about music and your journey and your career, but you're explaining how you've navigated life through this process. I mean, to think in a 3 year span of getting married, losing a child, still knowing that this rap career like is in the back of my mind, but I'm also trying to make sure like my family is straight. And I'm not in a
Mhm.
place where like that's a responsibility of mine. But even thinking about, I know how important that responsibility will be when it is
Mhm.
present. So it's
Yeah,
definitely something I just wanted to acknowledge before we finish. That I
yeah,
definitely
appreciate
appreciate
you.
you being that way so far. Man, you're bringing up so much stuff. I'm trying to keep it to like, getting your
I
story
know.
time and all, but you bringing up so much, and you brought up a great point. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, if you can't tell, I got Kendrick and Cole,
I
behind
see you,
that's
bro.
Crit down there too. You know what I'm saying? Them my three
I
favorites.
peep.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
peep.
But
Who is it? You said Kendrick Cole and who else?
Crit, that's Crit.
Crip. Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. I
yeah,
never got
no,
into Crip. That's dope.
it's tough. But a lot of people are like that though. I mean, and I don't.
Yeah.
They're my three favorites, so I don't make arguments for like, oh,
Right.
people
No. Yeah.
listen. You know what I'm saying? But I think they
Yeah.
all have Cole and Kendrick more so because Crit is somewhat mainstream, but he's not on the level that like Cole and Kendrick are. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't like to make because we talk about when we talk about the big three, right? And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, if you took a vote, the consensus for most would be Drake, Kendrick, Cole, in whatever order you want to put them in. But a
Yeah,
lot of
bro.
people create a very large separation, in my opinion, between like Drake and Cole and Drake and Kendrick to a degree of like popularity, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Like their ability,
Yeah.
like Drake's ability to make hits and his ability to be what some would say more versatile, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And not even so much to get into that conversation or argument, but more so to your point of it not being overnight. Um,
Yeah.
how I guess I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to ask it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that in general? Not so much just your experience, but seeing how we're
Mm-hmm.
in a space now in music where being overnight it is the trend, getting something that
Man.
pops and where and like you said, you if you wanted to, like I could
Mm-hmm.
go find the sound that's out
Yeah. Fact.
and make that and get a bag
Yeah.
sometimes the bag doesn't even come with the true respect or acknowledgement necessary, like it's just the bag. But that's why a lot
Yeah.
of people are even getting into music. Like you see some of these artists and they may make a half decent song, but they don't care about the
Yeah.
music. So as somebody that genuinely cares about the music and cares about substance, that was another thing I was going to bring up as well. And a lot of your
Yeah.
music, and all of your music, really, there's a level of substance that is not it's not substance because it's faith based. It's just
Mm-hmm.
substance because you're being
Facts.
transparent about what you're
Facts.
dealing with. But we're lacking so much of that in music in general because it's not about substance anymore. How that may be tied into what you already talked about with the industry, but expand on that a little bit more, just from your personal perspective on why music is like that. Are we in a space
Mm-hmm.
where we can really change that? Can music be about substance again, or have we gotten to a point where it's too money
Yeah.
driven, too busy, and too business driven for substance to sell at this point?
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. Even with that, it's days I don't even want to rap no more. It's like, bro, like, like it's tough. You know what I'm saying? But I think, yeah, that's a lot. I think that, man, there are so many different styles and genres and all that stuff. What's happening is back in the day, fam. For example, the Grammys, BT Awards, all that stuff nowadays, right? What did we just have with the Grammys? That just happened. They had this huge, I think it was a Grammy, yeah, this
Yeah,
huge hip hop celebration, right? Fam, that had never been done before, right? And so we look at hip hop, for example, you talking about some people say the 60s, but like you talking about late 70s and 80s is rolling around. It's some of them people just now getting recognized for all of the stuff that they've done, right? And it's
absolutely.
not even on a music level, bro. It's just like a community joint. Where it's like, fam, like seeing Busta Rhymes in it, man, like seeing like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, bro. It was heartwarming. And it's like, bro, these the joints my daddy was playing like when I was younger. Like I was 3, but I remember the Katie. I remember all of that stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's so touching, man, to the point where I think that it's huge. Like I talked about, it's huge to the point that we're just now getting around to celebrating some of the, if you, some of the folks that started hip hop,
Pioneers for
for
sure.
example, yeah, the pioneers. Yep, yeah, perfect word. The pioneers of hip hop, and at the same time, it's becoming um, a quick job and like income. It wasn't like that before. Like back in the day, like some of them artists are looking at these contracts now. They're like, fam, I wish, you know what I'm saying, Def Jam was messing with me like that back then.
Right.
I wish Snoop, like, Snoop and NWA, like y'all went on that, like that back then. Like Dre seeing money just off of like homage, bro, and like beats and like stuff like that. Not saying that he ain't, got some business skills and stuff like that, of course, but like just off of homage, bro, like you did a lot for hip hop. And so my point with all of that is like we're just not getting to the point of paying homage like on that level where you see it at the Grammys, which is not a, if we're being, honest, a brown skin started, type of entity, right? Um, it's always been about celebrating music in a sense of, even like classical and like all those things. I mean, I ain't even getting into it. Somebody do the research if y'all see this, you know what I'm saying? But like, when did hip hop even get fused into the Grammys or whatnot? Like, I don't even know how far it goes back or whatnot. But I know that the beginning of it wasn't always hip hop with hip hop in mind. And so it's like we're just not getting around to that. And then also too, you can make literally a quick, easy check off of hip hop right now too. And so it's like this thing where it's so powerful, but it's like almost like microwavable too, where it's like, bro, I can do a joint and say something explicit and really just blow up real fast, or hold a certain image and blow up really, really quickly. And then you lose, for example, what Cole and Kendrick talk about, you lose that realness for, the joint. Like Kendrick and Cole have both said at some point in their songs, like, bro, I'm on stage sharing my heart with people that don't even know me, or like I'm really like bro, like if you understand, like for me when I first started, and even now some of the stuff, like now it's been weird writing, for example, for songs that I'm making or whatnot, or for other people to have like that reaction where I'm like crying over lyrics and like going in, but like bro, I used to write, bro, and be crying over these lyrics, bro, like this is actually content and good consciousness that's going to like change somebody or whatnot. And I feel like the tops, the greats, they speak to those things. The Crits, the Kendricks, the Coles, like they don't shy away from that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And especially Cole, like he speaks to all of those things. Like fam, literally, he predicted, bro. You know what I'm saying? In Frost Prophets, like he predicted a lot in that song. Like
Yes.
the demise of Kanye, the demise of some rappers that literally demised themselves. Like it was like, bro, like, huh? And we all sitting around looking like, yo, but it's like, fam, like he saw it coming because it's not just a popcorn. Like if you really in love with hip hop, it's people in New York, for example, bro, that grew up, in the Bronx or whatever, bro, that would die over hip hop, bro.
Yeah.
Like if you come there and say, you know what I'm saying, a certain thing about KRS-One or whoever, bro, like Biggie, like it's a whole conversation where it's like, they wouldn't kill you, peace king, you know what I'm saying, type thing. They wouldn't necessarily kill you, but it's like they dying on that hill, bro. And it's
Yeah.
like, where do we value that joint? And yeah, it's huge, man. There's a difference now. Like I can blow up quick with the little quick trendy stuff, or I can take the long haul and grind and do the conscious joint and have, literally start with my 500 followers and have them just matriculate to 600 in a year and then 700 and, maybe, it gets to 5,000 and then in 5 years. And then it's a slow grow type thing, man. But like, I don't know, bro. Like a lot of artists, and bro, we got to be honest and transparent about it. Like a lot of artists that get these quick deals, man. It's a scheme. Like it's a scam, bro. It's in order to set something else up. And so, like, imagine if we had our own stuff, bro. Like, just talking about black and brown folks. Like, if we had our own stuff when it comes to the corporation, the back end stuff, the getting the royalties and all that stuff. Like, we didn't know about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost like we've been given access to it now, but like we really don't know about it because there are a lot of artists that are popping and stuff that don't know what an ASCAP is or a BMI is or like a song trust or like a sound exchange. Like those are all entities and things that collect royalties and extra monies as an artist. And like a lot of them sign those contracts, some 360 deals, and it's like they get into it and then they can't ever get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Rihanna just got her masters, you know what I'm saying? There are artists still fighting, struggling for their masters, bro. Like artists we used to listen to and bump. All that money had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Industry's making billions, bro, millions. You know what I'm saying? And so it's tough, man. Yeah, hopefully that kind of touched on it a little bit,
For sure.
but yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I know you keep trying like to not age yourself, and like I definitely get it.
Man,
And it's crazy
literally.
because even and I mean I'm not trying to age you, just even with our separation, you
No,
know.
you good. Yeah, yeah. Bro,
But
just throw it out there. I'm 30, bro. How old is you, bro?
I'm 27.
27, bro. You ain't even that, you know what I mean? It ain't even that much
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
difference. But
it's
you know
not.
what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So,
Yeah, but I'm starting to get to a place now where, especially when I'm looking at hip hop, like I
mhm.
like Cole and Drake and Kendrick, like when they entered. So but like
Mm-hmm.
2010, 2011, like Cole was, I mean, '09, but that time frame,
Mm-hmm.
that's when those are the artists that had me fall in love with hip hop. So that's so about
Sheesh.
12 or 13 years now for me is when I fell in love
Yeah.
with it. Now, did I go back and learn about artists that I would hear about? Like, obviously, went back
Right.
and learned about the Snoops, the Dre's, the even
Yeah.
those like, or I can even go further back. I was hearing music in 2000s that like I obviously rocked with Wayne heavy,
Mm-hmm.
like didn't know that Jay was Jay at the time, but obviously
Okay.
Jay was like I didn't realize he was Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like I
Exactly.
understand now, but like Jay was popping.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luda is somebody that for me personally stands out as like a voice I heard
Mm.
consistently, and it's like that's still hip hop. So like, but
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. To me, understanding like it was that vulnerability, it was that substance of
Sheesh.
when I'm listening to Friday Night Lights in 2010,
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
in high school, and I'm like, bro, what
Yes.
about this? Like they rap about
Yeah.
this. I just experienced this the
Yeah.
other day. Like they rap
Yes,
about this,
sir.
and
Yes,
that was where it
sir.
was like, oh, people can express themselves
Mhm.
in this way and make it relatable, but it still shows skill and talent. But that makes me want to ask you, what allowed you or what do you feel like allows you to show that level of vulnerability or express that level of vulnerability in your music? I don't know how many artists we have now that are either willing to admit or um find it as like a not a prize, but it's
Yeah.
something they're proud of to cry over a bar or to
Yeah.
cry over a verse. Like in my mind,
Yeah.
I think to, and yes, my cold stand is coming out, but I think to
You good.
his sacrifices verses, and I think about
Yeah.
the fact that he posted something like before the album drop. He posted saying like I cried in the studio writing this, and to find out that that was the verse, and then to hear the verse, and then to kind of get the verse, it's just like yo, I can only imagine writing something
Right.
like that. So it's just like, how do you as an artist, where does that ability to be vulnerable come from?
Man, a lot of places, uh, like you said, I'm really transparent, bro. Trauma is one of them. Like if we being honest, and so my buddy, shout out to Cedric Del Horde, he's a licensed psychologist, and he does therapy for folks, and him just giving me gems on certain stuff and like the traumas, for example, in regular conversation, like that I didn't know were present, and him just being a good friend and loving me in that way. For example, like those things shape how I write, right? So there's that. I think also too, it's just a makeup, man, of certain people, bro, certain artists, man. It's like a gift from God, bro, to be able to communicate something that somebody can feel, bro. Not to get deep, but we got to like literally in the beginning, bro. Like when God created the world, for those that believe this, like He spoke it, bro. It wasn't like a lot. I think a lot of people think like, oh yeah, God like, made me with His hands, like He formed Adam, His ears and stuff like. Fam, He was breathing. He spoke everything, right? And so I think that this idea of like words, is huge to Him, bro. And so the idea of words is huge, and then um you give it to humans and allow humans to interpret, articulate in certain ways, and different languages come about. And like the idea, like bro, languages are a beautiful thing. But I know I'm getting real deep, but like languages, and you hear them, like you hear somebody speaking Portuguese, and then you hear somebody speak French Creole. Like for me, it's like like man, that feels good. Like that's dope. I don't know what they're saying, but it's dope. You know what I'm saying? It's like man, words are huge, bro. And then you put music behind it, bro, and then you couple that with the walk that somebody's had, bro, and like what they've been through, like losing somebody close to them, or like even gaining something that they thought was that like the thing that was going to sustain them, for example, or whatever it is, man. Like it's so much, bro. Like for example, Marvin Sapp's joint never would have made it. Everybody know that song pretty much, and people thought it was him talking about God, bro. Like it was an interview he did. He was like, bro, I was talking about my wife. Like I never would have made it without you, like her. And so it was like when people heard it, it was like, huh, like
Wow.
this still cold, bro. This still forgot. And so it's like man, to the point of like lyrics and like really laboring over what you're writing, bro. I don't even know, man. I think it's just a giftedness from God. But then also too, um man, the world is so, I'm learning this, bro. I'm learning to slow down. because I think Cole would probably say something similar, bro. Like to see the world from that lens and to not always, and I want to caution away from this, not always think that you're right, but
Mhm.
like to know some stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Like like sometimes you just know stuff, bro. Like I tell my guys, like, bro, I be peeping stuff. Like I just like I don't know what it is. My son the same way. He peeps stuff. Like I'll be, down or whatever, or like I'll be just chilling and he'll ask me a question. It's like, bro, you four. How do you even know that? You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, bro, I think it's just a thing that God gives you, like some discernment or whatever. And depending on how you use it, it can be impactful. And when it comes to like Cole, like laboring over some stuff and crying about it, bro. Like, bro, when the verse went up on sacrifice, I already knew what was going on, bro.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
hugging the block, hugging the
Oh
block.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, ready to go. Like, bro, bro, come on,
Yeah.
bro. I was like, I knew exactly where he was coming from, bro. Like, like I can see him writing, bro, because I do the same thing. I can see him standing in front of the microphone and having written that and like, inflecting it and saying it, and then it coming out, what it was, bro. And it's like, man. And then for me, it just made it greater because Saba and Shmi was on that joint, and I was like,
Oh,
"Yo,
every
that's like
verse.
down the block, yeah, bro." Like
Every
every
verse.
joint, even Johnny joint. I was like, "Yo, I didn't
Oh,
even know Johnny like that." And so when bro did the left and right did,
oh yeah.
I was like, "Yo, like that's crazy. That's really like expansive, bro. I love hip hop so much, bro. I'm in my
Man,
happy place when I write." But I think to your question, not to go off topic, like,
you did.
yeah, man, it doesn't really even take a lot of like it takes a lot because you're doing it, but it doesn't take but for you being honest, bro. Like really being honest, like as an artist and person that writes, being honest about things. And hip hop has always no, not always. It started out really, really honest. And
Mhm.
then in the 90s, late 80s, like people realized, oh bro, I can be fake and make money off of this joint. Bro, we finna run it up. Corporations giving, handing out millions, bro. Make this fake joint, bro. You feeling like this? That's cool. I'm gonna give you 1 million. You can cope with that, right? And then once it run out, I really ain't got nothing else for you, but you still gotta, give me 10 albums. And like they run away with it. And it's just like, oh, that helped for that moment for them. And it's like when it's gone, it's gone. And then it's like, okay, what am I really worth? And then now you're stuck in a contract. And it's like you can't really like you want to make the stuff that Cole is doing. And that's why that beauty, that process is so smooth for like Cole and Kendrick and even Drake. Drake, hit mainstream quicker,
Right.
just because he was the monster in that whole Wayne and Nicki joint, and it was just like he just like went crazy, bro. And that was even monumental. The whole thing that they did with Young Money, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, like good situations. But then yeah, trauma, and then I think like man, just being able to be vulnerable, bro. Like if you down on your bag, like I'm not gonna rap about me having a bag, bro. I don't have it, but I'm gonna put it in a way where you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
don't have it, bro. Like man, it's real. So
Yeah. Now I found similarities in content creating. And I think that there are
yeah,
parallels in where hip hop has gone and where content creation has gone with where social media is as a whole now. And I'll get a lot of people that are like, I get a lot of people, I don't want to say it's fake support, but I'll get a lot of people
mm,
that are supportive or are who think that what I'm doing is cool, right? But
yeah,
it's not the cool that makes them like want to come back every week for it.
mm,
It's the cool like, oh, I saw it. That's dope that he decided to do
yeah,
that. Whenever I see it again, cool. And I have to learn not to take that personal because it's not necessarily
yeah,
an
bro.
indictment against me. That's just how a lot of people in the world view things. But to the point of
Bro.
everything I feel like every interview I do, like even to the point where my interviews are on average about an hour, right? I'm having a great
Mm,
time sitting here talking,
yeah,
saying whatever. But there's a lot of people that ain't gonna watch it for an hour because we may not be
yeah,
two celebrities that they invested in or whatever the case may be. So
yeah,
they not gonna catch all the gems we saying because they just ain't gonna take the time to watch it. But I'm like,
mm,
I'm not I'm not finna go chase and beg people, to allow me to interview them for the sake of hoping that like, oh, because they have this status or because they have these amount
mm,
of followers that's gonna benefit me in some way. Because that's not what I'm doing it for. You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
so I definitely understand and get and agree with a lot of what you're saying because it's just like it's so hard when it's so easy to pop, whatever the pop is, whether the pop is a bag, whether the pop is fame, whatever. It's so easy. I can't tell you how many times somebody's like, yeah, bro, man, get a, like, ask a controversial question, or, post a clip that
Yeah,
go viral. First off,
yeah,
nobody
bro. Do
intentionally
some,
goes
yeah,
viral. That doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? But so many people are like, no, you got to get something that's going to get people attention. And I'm just really,
yeah.
maybe it's the influences of like, well, yeah, maybe it's my influences because I've
Hmm.
been a fan of Cole since the beginning, because I've been a fan of Kendrick since the beginning. Like, so
Yeah.
their story in terms of like how they didn't conform and change, like it really for me is like a nah, like at some point in time, somebody gonna see how genuine this is. Somebody gonna realize how authentic, and that's
Yeah.
gonna be enough because it is.
Hmm.
So I can only imagine with artistry though, because I'm at a point now where like this is not. I don't lose sleep because like, oh, this ain't making me bread. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
As an
right.
artist, they like, nah, like that. I can see how there are people getting a bag from this. So me not getting a bag because I'm choosing not to go down that path.
Bro.
That it's some stuff.
That's bro.
It's some stuff.
Literally, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So no, I get that completely, man.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, bro.
you touched on a lot of authenticity already, but speaking on
Hmm.
like we just talked about like you being vulnerable or what allows you to be vulnerable, and within, and if you want to answer it, you can, in terms of like how you feel like you're able to stay authentic. What
Yeah.
role have those two things played in? You talked about like the last 2 years being a little bit more intentional and consistent with music.
Mhm.
What have those? How big have those two things been, and what else has been big in these last 2 years? Have you been a little bit more intentional and consistent with your grind with
Mhm.
music?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, bro, it's really been a humbling experience, bro. So humbling myself, um, like you said, man. Like you can have this talent, this drive, and then it go unnoticed. And for me, I've been humbled by that. Like I'm um, a part of Forgiving Music now, which is it's really like a collective right now. Like we haven't even gotten into like deep, um, a lot of I think what we can do. Like it's crazy, bro. Like there's a lot of talent there, and I think that and giftedness. I think that I've been humbled in that I'm taking a step back even when it comes to like the idea of like even putting out music. I'm starting to understand the weight of it all. Like I tried the weekly thing when it came to like posting like every day on TikTok and doing a song every week. Some people, I think Russ did it first, where he did a song a week for like a couple years or something like that. And that was the thing. And people saw that, and then Russ blew up and he got millions off of it. We was like, oh, we can do that. And then people tried to do it. Some people did really well. Some people, kind of didn't. For me, it wasn't authentic to me. Like it didn't feel like authentic, and I felt like I was rushing it. And I've never wanted my music to feel like that. And so it's like you live and you learn with music. And I had to do that, to go through that. I did that last fall, and it was pretty dope. But it really didn't hit like I wanted it to hit. And so for me, I think yeah, bro, I've just been humbled and having to be humble, which means that I'm not looking at myself as the best, man. The Bible talks about like not basically like looking at others as better than yourself and not holding yourself, as higher than others or whatnot. And so I've just been able to do that, and it's been so like fulfilling for me. And a part of that is me writing more for others and writing, yeah, for myself, but like really just writing songs just to see where that would go. Because, for example, like The Dream writes pretty much all the Beyonce stuff, but people don't know that.
Right.
And it's just like you see him on stage accepting the Grammy. You're like, why is he up there? And it's like, because man, he wrote the whole album. That's why. You know what I'm saying? And it's like in the background, like writers, they take a humble route. Why? They are literally artists that don't put music up. And it's like people look at that and be like, bro, I can never do that. And it's like, no, bro, like there's some dopeness in that, man. And there's a lot of stuff. Like Quentin Miller with Drake, like there's a lot, stuff. I just learned Ty Tribbett did the Cry Me a River piano, bro. Like I didn't even know that. And it's
That's
like
crazy.
there's so much, bro, literally. And people don't know that, bro. He did the literally the Timbaland and the Justin Timberlake joint. The Cry Me a River joint. It's like the piano for that joint. It's like, yo, along with I think he said Floetry, did that with him. And it's like, man, it's like music is so much more. So for me, it's been taking a humble route, man. And I think that's being authentic to me, because I never want to put out stuff that I feel like isn't really true to me. And I think that I mentioned the last like year or so or two, I've been kind of honing in on what that really looks like. I've been able to like try a different sound, but try to keep who I am. And for me, it's like I could do it, but I think it'd be more impactful on a scale where if I wrote it for somebody and somebody else did it that has the voice and mouthpiece to do it, that'd be probably way more impactful. And I think that's where I am right now when it comes to forgiving music, for example. But then also too, I got stuff, bro, in the chamber. Like I got joints, like 2 albums that I haven't
Mhm.
like dropped a release, and they are. I'm talking about like you talking about transparent. Like they talk to pretty much a lot of the stuff that we think but we don't say. We allow to, control how we see stuff. For example, family issues, like not putting like when Kendrick did the mother I sober joint, bro. That you know how many people that like it was pastors talking about that joint, like man, like how do we get to this place of transparency? It's like fam. First, you be real about the trauma that you went through,
Mhm.
right? And then you have a conversation with yourself, like, yo, is this something I really want to engage in? But then two, it's like, man, do I want to really put that out? Do I want to expose myself like that? And at the Grammys, he thanked his family first. He was like, I thank my family for allowing me to do it. Because it's like the same trauma that y'all put me through or what like I went through with y'all, like you allowed me to share it as well. And so it's like huge thing there. So for, to the question, like authenticity, yeah, man, just humility, bro. And then also too, just seeing where I am and yeah, man, just knowing, I think the bigger picture, man, like the bigger picture, like I'm pretty sure the dream. Bro, he got some joints, bro. Like I was listening to them joints in high school, but I'm pretty sure he still want to do his thing, and he might be still releasing music, but we don't really know because he's not on that level. But we know what he's doing with Beyonce joint. He ain't even gotta release his own music no more if he don't want to. He's kind of been goaded, when it comes to the Beyonce joints. And so it's just like, man, um, I don't know, bro. Just taking that step back, bro, to really think about the impact and how to impact, um, and yeah, just being humble, man, and yeah, bro, I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean the dream definitely has a bag of his own, for sure.
Yes, and yes,
Talking,
indeed. I would. Yeah, I don't want to
talking
just
about an
talk more
artist,
side.
yeah,
Like he, you know what I'm saying. He definitely got them joints.
yeah. Like, you
He
talking about an
definitely got them joints.
artist, you talking about a producer and a songwriter.
Yeah,
So just
yeah, facts.
every aspect covered. Um,
Yeah,
2023, just released, recently
hmm
last month, was it right?
yeah,
Last month, about a month
yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
just
yep, yeah.
released an EP. Um,
hmm
where are you at now? You kind of spoke to where you are in terms of, feeling like writing, right? You're in a space of like writing for others. If that may
hmm
be best fitting things of that nature. But with that release and kind of with how things have looked like, maybe not the last 2 years, but like the last year or so, or even 6 months, if you really want to break it down, where do you feel like
Yeah,
you are, and what's next for you with the stage that you're in right now as an artist?
absolutely. So it's funny. What solidifies artists usually is like that album, and so I haven't had that yet. And I got two joints. I'm trying to figure out how to go about them. One thing that I'm doing right now too, which is a caveat to what I'll say, is I'm getting into sync licensing, which is and I'm putting this out there for every artist, bro. Like some people, I think right now it's getting so big where people are like trying to hide all the information. It's kind of like knowing something, like knowing a secret or knowing a coupon that you can use at a store, but then like you're trying to just hoard it for yourself. Sync
Mhm.
licensing, bro, is where people are getting paid. Like artists are getting paid. What is sync licensing? It's basically, and I just taught at UWM last or a couple weeks ago on this. It's basically like when you turn on Netflix, when you turn on a movie, when you turn on whatever, uh, you're hearing music throughout the whole joint, bro. Or when you see a commercial, your favorite Verizon commercial, the jingle for Verizon, the jingle for State Farm, everything is music based, fam. Like the ads on YouTube, when an ad comes up before you click on, a Ball is Life video, like the music behind that joint, bro, is literally somebody created that, and they're getting paid for that if you're doing the right thing. And so sync licensing is licensing your music out that you already have to spaces, sending it to, music supervisors, for example, the ones that oversee the Super Bowl, for example. Like, and it's crazy how much money in the bag that you can make off of that, even. And that's how independent artists are getting paid, bro. Like, there are people that don't even like necessarily do music like I do that are getting paid for doing sync license just because they was like, oh, okay, I'll take 6 months to learn piano and figure this out, or oh, I'll take vocal lessons for a couple months and see what I can do, and then tapping into sync licensing, bro. And if you get placement for the Super Bowl, for example, usually that starts in the high five figures, bro, and to six figures, like for a placement for one little joint, because like the cost of a commercial, for example, for the Super Bowl is going up. I think it's like 3 million now or something like that for a 30-second commercial. And it's like there's money everywhere, fam. So sync licensing is something I'm getting into. Netflix specials, any scene cut. Um, Shout out to Childish Gambino. We watched Finish Sworn. That joint was crazy. Like all the, you know what I'm saying, little parts where it cuts to different scenes, where there's music there present. Like it could be a song that you know or a song that you don't know, independent artists. And it's like people are getting paid for that. And that's an opportunity. And so that's what I'm getting into next. And I'm pushing that really heavy. And as far as the EP I just dropped in February, honestly, the one in January and February, those were just a compilation of the joints that I did in fall 2022, which were those 11 tracks I tried to just release weekly and like see where that would go. And so that was stuff that I already done. Really, I just kind of packaged it a little different, and it's doing really well. But I got new stuff that I'm trying to be strategic about. I got an EP for sure that I want to release, and it'd be something where I'm collaborating with the artists on Forgiven Music, and they each probably got a feature on there or something like that. And then yeah, bro, after that, bro, I gotta do these albums, bro. Like it's two of them, at least that. And so I think writing for people is long term for me. It's something I'll do now and I'll try to get established. But I think that long term, I want to probably be a writer, man, and focus really on that. But I do have these albums that I gotta get done with, man, and get them out. And so for the EP, we're probably looking at May, and then the albums probably at the end of summer, maybe, and then in fall. So yeah, man, it's a lot coming, bro. But you got to be strategic with it too, and like, you know what I'm saying, like have music videos and all this stuff. It's like a lot that goes into it. So
For
yeah,
sure.
times, but as did probably a lot of artists. But DonJayLive, and live is a old, just to me being able to speak in a live setting. Like I love people, so I think that I can really talk and do stuff in a live setting. So Don J, first name Donovan, last name Jackson, and so Don DonJay, and then live on all socials everywhere. You'll find me. There might be some fake profiles out there. Please report them joints. You'll find the real me if you see them joints. But YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, bro. I'm on Deezer. I'm on Tidal, bro. I'm on everything, bro. Run it up. Please go to my YouTube and subscribe. I'm trying to grow up on YouTube, bro. I feel like I'm still a little kid on that joint, bro. Like I'm seeing pages start this year. They take it off, bro. I'm like, yo, hold on, what I'm doing? So YouTube, please subscribe, Don J Live, DonJayLive, and then my Spotify. Go follow me on Spotify so that you can see when I drop and all that stuff, and it'll pop up right away if you're on there. But yeah. Oh, also too, y'all. Like I said already, live in transparency, and then yeah, just be honest, man. Like I think that being honest is something that we learn when we're really, really little, but we're starting to see and live in a world where things are just kind of dishonest. Social media stuff we see, all that stuff. Like honesty, I think is huge, man. And man, I think God will bless that, bro. And yeah, man, just be honest, transparent about it. If you're dealing with it too, say something about whatever, man. Like we can get into mental health, all type of stuff. But we might do a part two, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do that. But yeah, man. Just be honest and transparent. So yeah.
For sure. Sounds good. We definitely gonna
Yeah,
get a
man.
part two at some point in time.
Yes,
But
indeed.
until
Yeah.
that part two and until the
Yes,
next,
sir.
I
Let
catch
that simmer.
yeah, I will let it simmer. We'll catch y'all next week, man. Peace.